Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to Next Gen Shoals Mayoral Forum for the City of Florence. My name is Connor White, and I'm the president of Next Gen. Thank you for joining us tonight. Before we get started, I want to introduce you to Next Gen and tell you a little bit about what we do. Next Gen Shoals is a young professional organization in partnership with the Shoals Chamber of Commerce. Our mission is to find and foster the next generation of leaders in the Shoals. We actively work to connect young people together in our area through networking opportunities and provide opportunities for young people to learn and grow through things like our Lunch and Learn series. We work to engage young people in supporting our communities. In 2016, NextGen hosted the inaugural mayoral debates in Norton Auditorium. Not only was that event successful, we also felt it was a necessary resource and opportunity for our communities to get to know the candidates running for leadership in their respective municipalities. We also feel that it is equally, if not more, important now to be able to bring these candidates running for office to the front of the community. In light of the COVID-19 and the challenges of this unprecedented time, we are proud to present these virtual mayoral forums. Thank you to the Shoals Chamber of Commerce, not only for their support with these forums, but their continued support and encouragement of Next Gen Shoals as a whole. We are proud to partner and be a part of their Vote 2020 campaign. I would also like to thank our board members for their efforts in organizing these events and continuing to support our community. All candidates who are listed on the ballot have been invited and asked to participate. Tonight's forum, the candidates for the City of Florence will include Steve Holt, Sam Pendleton, Andy Betterton, and Christian Rucker. Moderating tonight's forum is Dr. Butler Kane. Dr. Kane is chair and professor in the communications department at the University of North Alabama. He received a PhD in communication and information sciences with a focus in media history from the University of Alabama before transitioning into higher education. Dr. Kane spent many years working professionally as a broadcast journalist, including a decade as news director of Alabama Public Radio. He is a member of the Rotary Club of Florence and serves as the chair of the North Alabama District 6860 Rotary Peace Fellowship Committee. Dr. Kane, thank you for joining us. I'm now going to turn it over to you.
Connor, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And good evening, everyone. The questions I will ask tonight have been submitted by the public and carefully selected by the Next Gen Board and its review committee. The questions have not been shared with the candidates or their aides prior to tonight's event. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer the opening question and 1 minute 15 seconds to answer any subsequent question. If a rebuttal is requested, I will indicate the candidate who can offer a rebuttal. They will have 30 seconds to answer. Time will be kept strictly tonight. Candidates will be notified of the remaining time that they have left on their screens. Candidates will be allowed to finish their sentences when time runs out. Also, this is a community event. All language and insinuations will need to be kept PG for the viewing audience. Next Gen Shoals has the right to cut off or remove any candidate who uses lewd, foul, or inappropriate language. Next Gen Shoals will be the sole party to determine what falls into those categories. Candidates, do each of you understand these rules and agree to them tonight?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Candidates have been placed in random order to determine the sequence in which they answer the first question. After each question, the order for candidates will rotate. The candidate who answers first will then move to the end for the next question, and so on. So, the order for tonight's first question will be Mr. Sam Pendleton, Mr. Christian Rucker, Mr. Steve Holt, and Mr. Andy Betterton. So, candidates, the first question tonight. What are your priorities with respect to the issues in this mayoral campaign? As mayor, what actions will you take to enhance the quality of life for residents in your city and the greater Shoals area? Mr. Pendleton, you will begin, and you have 2 minutes to respond.
My first priority is safety. I want to work with the police department. I have enough police officers where we can at least have 2 police officers to a patrol car. You do not have a quality of life without safety. And I have spoken with the President Chief. I told him I don't want any police cars left on the lot. I want no police cars in the service, just in case we need them. We can cut down on the response time. So my priority is safety. Without law and order, there is no order. I don't care how rich you are, or what kinds of car you have, or clothes, or what restaurant you go to. If you don't feel safe, you don't have a quality of life. So the first thing I would be doing is one for safety. Hire more police officers. In other words, I'm saying I would rather have police officers and not need them than these will not have them. And so that's what will be my priority is safety, to provide a quality of life for the citizens of Florence. I do not care what the cop at that school, that beauty shop, a barber shop. All I want is patrol cars on the street. If they get a call for service, I want the response time to be, before you hang the phone up, I want them to be there to do whatever they need to do to make the citizens feel safe. Priority is safety, quality of life.
Mr. Pendleton, thank you very much. Mr. Rucker, you are next. You have 2 minutes.
My number one priority is jobs and workers' rights. I want to bring more and more industry to Florence, and I want to build up smaller businesses, and I want every single person who is employed in Florence to have a union backing them. This nation as a whole has forgotten about the workers, and that's what I want to do. I want to insert labor unions into our city, and later on that'll spread to the rest of the state. I want to make Florence a workers' paradise, where people will be lining up in droves to come to Florence and work, because we'll have so much jobs that need to be done. We'll have so many jobs, and we'll have strong unions backing those jobs. So when people come here, they'll have better pay, they'll have easier hours, they'll have more vacation time that's paid. When you talk about the average everyday citizen, I am a concrete worker. I just got off of an 8-hour shift at a concrete plant today. So when I say that we need unions, I mean we need unions. We need more jobs and we need unions. Also, we need to get rid of this Confederate statue. That's another priority of mine. We need to progress and not be left behind. We're being left behind more and more every day. And it costs the taxpayers $20 an hour thanks to Steve Holt and him having a police officer at that monument 24/7 to a point to where it's actively hurting the taxpayers. It's actively hurting what we are doing as a community. If it's such a hassle for that statue to stay up, why don't we relocate it? There's a art museum about an hour away from Florence that we could definitely relocate. Thank you. I end my time.
Mr. Rucker, thank you very much. Mr. Holt, you're next.
Yes, so thank you, Dr. Kane, and thank you, Next Gen Shoals, for doing this. When I took office in November of 2016, our unemployment rate was over 7%. When we went into this year, it was 2.7%. Then the pandemic hit, and we dropped. We hit double-digit unemployment, and then in May it dropped down to 10.4%, and then in June it dropped further to 8.2%. So we're going in the right direction. We also, in the last 4 years, we've created 2,596 jobs and 446 new and expanded businesses, and those are in the city of Florence. We've been blessed, but we will continue to work on that. Jobs will continue to be my priority. When you look at our community, 90% of our businesses have 50 or less employees. 2/3 have 10 or less employees. So we're very much small business driven, and we will continue to work on that. The next thing is bandwidth. We must establish bandwidth, speed, and capacity throughout our community in order to be relevant in the years to come. not just in the city of Florence, but throughout Lauderdale County. That's an important issue for us. From quality of life, we will continue our paving program. We're doing about a $2 million project this year. We'll continue to do at least $2 million in paving. We want to continue to support education at the level that we are now. Our K-12 education, the city of Florence invests very heavily in it with our sales tax. And there's things that we need to work on, like the College Street Bridge, which will allow us access west and north of Florence, which are our growth areas, our potential growth areas. We need to work on that. The old ECM hospital site, there's 12 acres there. We need to work with the county. We will work with the county to market that site, make it available, as we do have other sites in the city also. And those will be our issues for the days and years to come.
Mr. Holt, thank you very much. Mr. Betterton, you have 2 minutes, please. Oh, and if you would just restart that, I think we're going to unmute. You're unmuted now. Go for it, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Kane, and thanks NextGen for the invitation to be with you this evening. Over the last term, the mayor and council have accomplished a number of projects that I'm very, very proud. Groups like NextGen Shoals and other meetup technology groups make me excited about our future. I believe you're ready to help us go for what I call the next bracket. So what's next? As mayor, some of my list of projects include the River Heritage Trail, the redevelopment of the Veterans Drive corridor across from the new hospital, developing a 5 and 10-year capital plan so the public can see and collaborate on large projects like replacing the municipal building and downtown parking deck, reopening of the city as the COVID subsides, working with nonprofits to eradicate homelessness in Florence, taking a hard look at the city's cybersecurity policy so that we're properly prepared, trained, and insured, expanding One Stop to help developers better plan and work with the city to enhance our infrastructure, and most importantly, use and encourage our amazing economic development tools like CETA, Shoals Chamber, Shoals Business Incubator, Shoals Shift, Northwest Shoals, UNA, and the Florence Lauderdale Tourism. I plan to call on our citizens to join me in developing platforms for progress. I believe this step can help us better communicate with the public, City Hall, and also the council. The pandemic has shown us there's an abundance of creativity and energy in this community. Let's use it to grow. As mayor, I believe these actions will continue a quality of life that I believe is second to none. Thank you.
Mr. Betterton, thank you very much. Candidates, at this point, for the rest of the mayoral forum, all of you will have 1 minute and 15 seconds to respond to the remaining questions for tonight. And Mr. Rucker, you will be the first to answer this question. Florence is a vibrant college town, and over the years, the University of North Alabama has continued to expand and grow. However, it is still common for young professionals to seek employment in larger cities, such as Huntsville, Nashville, or Birmingham. What efforts will you implement to make Florence and the Shoals area an attractive place for young professionals, both bringing young people in and retaining those who already call Florence and the Shoals area home? Mr. Rucker.
Well, that's an excellent question. And the best way to do that to me is to have more incentives to go to UNA. We can fund more scholarships so people will go to UNA. I'm a UNA student myself. I'm a political science major, and we have some of the best political science departments on earth. And if someone wants to be a professor, there's no better place to be a professor than UNA. And along with that, we can also have small business grants that are funded by the city. We can fund small businesses that are maybe struggling, and we can really put pressure on the corporation to give some more to the city so they can help out with small businesses. Because we have so much top-down control from McDonald's, from Walmart, from Burger King, where when you have people like Riccatoni and you have people like City Hardware, you have problems where they're not going to be able to survive much longer because of stuff like the pandemic. So when you say we're going to have more businesses, we're going to have to actively make more businesses. We're going to have to actively make more jobs.
Mr. Rucker, thank you. Mr. Holt, you're next.
Yes, sir. Thank you. As I said before, 66% of our business, or 67% of our businesses have 10 or less employees. So they're very small business driven. That makes it difficult many times for students graduating from UNA to be able to stay here. So I think there are two areas that we can work on. One is our startup. We do have the Shoals Business Incubator, which it's a multi-use campus, it has a culinary campus, and it has a manufacturing campus. So if we can enhance students to start their own businesses, we can work with them in a number of ways. We can also, I think what CETA has started with the Remote Shoals program and relocating professionals to move into the Shoals area, that enhances our quality of life, and our students maybe would stay and work with some of those. We need to create jobs that are commensurate with our student graduates, and I think that we will be able to do that better as we work together and try to keep our students here.
Mr. Holt, thank you. Mr. Betterton, you're next.
Am I unmuted?
You are.
Okay. A little gun shy, I guess. Certainly like talking about UNA. My wife and I are both graduates of UNA. I was president of the Alumni Association several years ago. When I came on the council, we talked a lot about town and gown. We've done a lot. Downtown's much different than it was when I first came on the council. We now have an entertainment district. I think we have worked closely to make UNA students feel more comfortable with downtown. We've worked on parking and other things. I'm excited about the music program that's in our downtown that UNA has started. I'm excited about the Collins building, which will enhance economic development. And certainly we have a partnership with UNA there. I think it's important for us to talk to people at UNA. I know we've got soon to have another town and gown report from a committee from UNA. I think it's very important that we keep the dialogue going, the communication, the collaboration together. And I think we can certainly do that. And I'm excited about that.
Mr. Betterton, thank you. Mr. Pendleton, you're next.
Yeah, it seems as though I'm hearing a broken record about these other candidates. They're not thinking outside of the box. What I think we ought to be doing, first of all, we need to buy a new pair of knee pads so we can attract businesses to our area. You know, I'm in favor of UNA, I always have been, but when you look at things, we got a university within walking distance of our central business district. In other words, you can be a student on UNA and walk downtown. You don't have to have a car. Most universities that are number one, you got to drive around a long way to get to the central business district, but we are lucky to do that. I propose that we at least get a coordination between the Realtors and the Home Builders Association, and also include our tourism bureau. One of the things I know what I would do is get rid of that Mustang Sally on our Mayoral, our waiting list. When you make a telephone call, you hear Mustang Sally. I don't think that's appropriate. But in order to attract UNA students to our area, this mayor and then the council 70 miles away on the Mazda Toyota plant, they hadn't done anything. So don't come tell me what to do something. You had 4 years to do it and hadn't done anything at all. Why is it that
Mr. Pendleton, your time is up. If we can. No, thank you very much. I appreciate it. That is that question, candidates. Thank you for this. For the next one, our third question of the night, Mr. Holt, we will begin with you. With recent local and national unrest surrounding issues of racism and inequality, what actions will you and your administration take to make Florence an inclusive, safe community for minorities and people of color?
I feel that Florence is a safe community. I believe it's been one of our strong points in our quality of life. And in terms of minority businesses, we need to see growth in our minority businesses. But I think that our police department is professional. They work hard to maintain safety throughout our city, and we're proud of that. We're going to continue to be proud of that. We're going to support our police department in every way. But we want our citizens to feel safe, and we're going to work hard to make sure they feel safe. If there's any possibility of talking with the protesters, both pro and con, I'm happy to do that. I have done that. Not very successfully, but I would like to continue to do that. As Mr. Rucker mentioned, that monument is a detriment to our community at this point. There are legal issues that are a detriment to us right now. I'd like to resolve those. And I'm a proponent of relocating the monument to Soldiers Rest in our city cemetery. Will that make the issue go away? I don't know, but I want to support diversity in every way that we can. I would like to establish some groups to continue talking, working with me, working with the council, working with the city in any way that we can to see where we can improve what we're doing.
Mr. Holt, thank you. Mr. Betterton, you're next.
Well, I guess my first statement would be that, like the other council and mayor, I certainly support moving the statue to Soldiers Rest at the cemetery. I know that's not necessarily a popular stance for many, but I believe right now we're in a period of turmoil that I think with people of reason, we can sit down and talk. We'll move the statue, but will that make a difference? And I think for me, as I talk with people throughout the community, people of color, people of different faiths, I have a willingness from those to sit down across the table, across the meal, and talk about how we can improve our community, how we can improve how we treat diverse groups. I think we have to love people where they are. And I certainly, with all the things I've done in this community over the years, believe that talking is our best option. And I'll certainly support that, encourage that in every single way.
Mr. Betterton, thank you very much. Mr. Pendleton, the question is yours.
Okay, it sounds like lip service to me. Sounds like double talk. The mayor and Mr. Betterton have had an opportunity to do some things to show that they were sincere. For an example, most of our hotels are hotels, people of color. We don't have one shade of color on our tourism board. Taxation without representation. What I am saying, Mayor Holt and Betterton has had an opportunity to nominate some minorities to be on the rated board and have not. Now, all of a sudden, during election time, they're talking about what they will do. You've had your chance, you haven't done nothing. I would have said, and I said during the council meeting, they fell on deaf ears. When you had a vacancy, you didn't point anybody from the hotel. I was talking about people of color. You eventually appointed somebody, but you're not a person of color. And I didn't appreciate that. So now all of a sudden, you want to talk about you know how to do things and want to talk about it. I've had over 40 years of experience in civil rights, and the best thing to do is to sit down and talk. Now the horse is out of the barn, and now y'all want to close the door. You should have been talking a long time ago. All of a sudden, election time, now you're talking all that sweet stuff. But you're not sincere. You had the opportunity to hire minorities, you have not. You had an opportunity to vote minorities, you have not. So all of a sudden now, I consider that double talk.
Mr. Pendleton, that is your time. Thank you very much. Mr. Rucker, it's your question.
I want to say first off, Sam Pendleton's answer was incredible, absolutely incredible. And he is right. They both have been members of this city for a long time now. And when I first came to UNA and I saw that statue, I had a problem with it. And now that problem has grown and grown and grown, and black Lives Matter. No ifs, ands, or buts. Black Lives Matter. And we have so many international students in our city that is frankly irresponsible to let what's going on right now happen. Because there have been Ku Klux Klan sightings in Florence, Alabama. Ku Klux Klan at a pride parade in, I believe, the park. And Steve Holt actually said that is a difference of opinion that is a problem. No, we need to make steps to make sure that we don't have the Klan in our city, that we remove that statue. If we can't move it, put a bag over it. I don't care if it's an eyesore. It's offensive to minorities. It's dangerous to minorities to perpetuate that. And that is the problem, that both of the people who have always been in this government will not do anything unless it gets them votes. And I am here to say Black Lives Matter. No matter how many votes it loses me, Black Lives Matter.
Mr. Rucker, thank you very much. Our next question, question number 4 tonight, will begin with you, Mr. Betterton. The Shoals is a vibrant, interconnected area consisting of 4 main cities. As mayor of Florence, what steps would you take to build working relationships with the other 3 municipalities in our area?
Well, I think it's interesting because within the last 6 or 8 months, a group of investors presented the PARCA study, which is the Public Affairs Research Council of Alabama, did a study here. We had a number of meetings about it, talked about it, brought individuals from all 4 cities together. It's always been interesting to me that we want to build that relationship when we don't talk to each other. We don't know each other. Oftentimes the councils never get together. We don't know who are councilmen in different cities. I know sometimes the mayors meet, and I certainly appreciate that. But it seems to me if we really want to make a difference in this community, working together, we need all the players in place. Sit down with all the council members, sit down together and say, what are 1 to 5 things that we can work together on and try to accomplish. And I think that's when we make a difference, when we sit down, look at each other face to face, and I think then we can figure out what things can we work together on.
Mr. Betterton, thank you very much. Mr. Pendleton, the question is yours.
Once again, I hear double talk. You've had 4 years to do something, you have not communicated. All of a sudden, this election time, now you tell me what you do. First of all, I would have taken concrete action. When that pond road leading to the I would have done, people call me, call the county and say, how much do you want us to contribute to that construction? Because a lot of people from Florence work at the North Alabama Lighting. You have a flooding problem. This mayor and this councilman didn't do anything to help Coffee County. What I would have done, I would have picked up the phone, called Roger Creek Board, and said, Roger, what can we do to assist the county in correcting that flooding problem? I would not have waited for them to call me. I would have been proactive. All of a sudden, it's election time, and they're talking about what they would do. You've had 4 years to do it and hadn't done it. But I would take action and call them. I would also, at least in my thinking, when I came here, I could walk across O'Neill Bridge. On Thanksgiving Day, what I would do was try to close that bridge and have what we call the Thanksgiving crossing, for the people from Clark County to walk over the bridge and join with Lauderdale County. I keep hearing there's a bridge between us. It's not. I would say on Thanksgiving Day, we would have a march across the bridge, a walk over. Clark County citizens will walk over and shake our hand and vice versa. I would take concrete action. These folks talking about different.
Mr. Pendleton, thank you. That is your time. Mr. Rucker, you are next, please.
I have a problem. I wasn't able to hear the question.
Yes, just quickly, Shoals is an interconnected area with 4 main cities in this area. As mayor of Florence, what steps would you take to build good relationships with the other 3 municipalities?
Well, that's definitely a good question. And I feel like the best way to do that is to interconnect stuff like the university with Muscle Shoals. We could have so much stuff. We could have field trips from our local schools into the Muscle Shoals area. We get to see Fame recording studios where famously the Rolling Stones had recorded at. We just really need to put an emphasis in the schools, not just UMNA, the big university, the oldest university in Alabama, in fact. Put emphasis in the high schools, elementary schools, middle schools, that we have amazing schools here that are tragically underfunded. So increase funding for schools and get more field trips out into the rest of the shoal, because we have such a unique history that you don't see anywhere else in Alabama. The Rolling Stones didn't record anywhere else in Alabama. So when we say build good relations, what we need to do is have it more interconnected. Kids from Muscle Shoals come into Florence, kids from Florence go into Muscle Shoals, and we see more of our area.
Mr. Rucker, thank you. Mr. Holt, the question is yours now.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. First of all, I'm current chairman of the Northwest Alabama Council of Local Governments. That's a 5-county area, and we work every month with all the mayors and all the county commissioners across that 5-county area. Mayor David Bradford of Muscle Shoals, Mayor Ian Sanford of Sheffield, Mayor Terry Underwood of Tuscumbia, and I are all longtime very good friends. We meet at least once a quarter. We travel together. We work together. We have a meeting coming up in August with Representative Adderholt. We do this all the time. We go to Washington, we go to Montgomery, we support each other, and we have a strong belief that whenever Littleville wins, Florence wins, or whenever Lexington wins, Tuscumbia wins. We know that, and we work really hard on it. We've done it for a long time. Mayor Burrows of Lexington, Mayor Hurston of Rogersville, Mayor Tubbs of Killen, Mayor Connolly of St. Florine. We all work together. We've been doing this for a long time, and we're blessed with our relationships. We have fun with each other. We support each other. We do it through the Economic Development Authority and other ways, but we're doing it, and we keep doing it, and we both know a lot of people across each side of the river.
Mr. Holt, thank you very much. Mr. Pendleton, this question will come to you first. Florence's elected and appointed officials lack diversity. What will you do to actively seek out diverse voices when it comes to policies, municipal boards, and civic engagement, specifically with regard to age, gender, race, and sexual orientation?
What I would do basically is look at all the boards that I did when I was a councilman. We know when they are vacant. I would have the courage to recommend to the council that we need to appoint, a black or Hispanic or whatever. I would not be too politically correct. I'll just have to call it like I said. I know I make people mad, but I guarantee you, I ain't made nobody mad, didn't deserve to be made mad. That's what I would do. When it comes down to the tourism board, I would look at that board, no black, no person of color. I would look at the Patels. Now, what I say about that is, I think this is why this council has always discriminated against the Patels, because they are dark skinned. I would look at it like it's supposed to be. I know they don't like to hear me say, but I looked at the council and told them that. They don't like to hear it, but it's true. Diversity. Now, I don't know too much about the sexual orientation. I don't think I have to ask anybody, whatever the case might be. I wouldn't want to do that. But I have no problem with making those suggestions. I did it when I was a council member for 20 years. I'll do it again as mayor.
Mr. Pendleton, that is your time. Thank you very much. Mr. Rucker, you're next, please.
That is an amazing question. And while I do appear to be white, I am actually half Hispanic myself. So there will be some diversity there in that. But not only that, we can actively employ people in the government who are LGBT, Black, Hispanic. We have a lot of Native Americans in Florence. So when we say bring more diversity to the government, I mean directly. Put many different colors of faces in really high places in the government. That's the way that we achieve diversity. I personally work with SAFE. I'm not LGBT myself, but I personally work with the UNA's organization SAFE, which is an organization that promotes equality across campus. So I want to fund equality Shoals diversity centers a lot better, and I want to have direct action, which means I will hold city council meetings where I will have people of all different races, all different orientations, come and talk to me and propose what they would like to see in the city. Because at the end of the day, when you talk about diversity, it's not just what you're talking about. It's not just me. Even though I'm Hispanic, I can't speak for a Black person. I can't speak for a Native American person. So the only way that we're going to have more diversity is to let them speak themselves.
Mr. Rucker, thank you very much. Mr. Holt, it's your question now.
Yes, sir. Thank you again. We have a number of boards and commissions in the city that are appointed by the city council. My appointments are the Florence Housing Authority and the Florence Planning Commission, but there's a number of other boards and commissions, and we need leadership. There's no question about it. We're looking for leadership. Frankly, it's hard to get somebody to apply. It's such a simple application process, and I invite everybody right now, go to our website. Today's council meeting, we had two jobs, our volunteer positions posted. One was for I believe the Tree Commission, and two positions for the Shoals Economic Development Authority Board. And I encourage you to apply for those positions. I think the council is more than fair and looking for leadership. We want the leadership, but it is a process of application. And I invite you again to make those applications. Look at our boards and commissions. Call me if you have questions about any of them, because we want that diversity. We want you to make application. In terms of the jobs that we have in the city, we're looking for applications from all walks of life. And we invite you. Those are also posted on our website every day, the job openings, and we encourage you to apply for those.
Mr. Holt, thank you very much. Mr. Betterton, it's your question.
Well, I'll have to agree with the mayor. I think we've got a number of committees and boards and other groups that meet regularly, and we're constantly looking for people that want to step up and help us. And I'm not aware of any time we've turned down anyone because of color or any other. I think we welcome that diversity. I know in particular the Florence Police Department, Chief Tyler has made it very clear that he's looking for good officers, male, female, Black, white, others who want to participate, who want to be involved. I'm excited that UNA has been forthright in stepping up and helping us do more things with inclusion and talk about diversity. I just believe that communities with a diverse population and respect for that diversity are going to grow and thrive. And my friendships include persons of all shapes, sizes, interests, colors, ethnicities, faith, sexual orientation, and political views. I just believe when we respect those views, we're going to have people to step up and be a part of our community in a greater way.
Thank you very much. For our next question, Mr. Rucker, you will be the first to answer this one. Issues of homelessness and food insecurity have been widely debated in the city of Florence for many years. What will you and your administration do to address the root problems of these issues?
That's a wonderful question. And when I first started running for mayor, one of the first things I said is I want to give city jobs to the homeless people. I want to walk up to them on the streets, hand them that application, get them to fill it out. We have so many potholes to where the point where Steve Holt won't fill them. He's not going to ever fill them. So to say that we can't fill those potholes while helping out homeless people, let them build themselves out of the situation they're in. Not only that, not only will I fund the local homeless shelter, I believe is Room at the Inn or something like that. Not only will I fund that better, I will build onto it. I will give it another location in Florence, because we always talk about downtown Florence. Let's talk about, the main Florence Boulevard, where we have all these businesses that are just a bunch of corporate businesses. So to say that we can't hire more homeless people, to say that we can't help them more, no, everyone deserves a bed. Everyone deserves some food. Everyone deserves a job.
Mr. Rucker, thank you. Mr. Holt, you're next, please.
Thank you very much again. We have worked in the last year so closely with the Salvation Army. We know that we have homeless needs here, and I want to give a tremendous amount of credit to the Salvation Army. In April, we had 10 openings at the Salvation Army, and we had 10 homeless individuals that were able to move into the facilities there, and about 4 that moved to the facilities and lived in tents. But in their partnership with our Shoals Community Clinic, with another couple of organizations that have worked with them. First of all, the Salvation Army does counseling, and they work to train people in other ways. They have computers there. But we have a group that is coming in to teach them dressing procedures, to teach them how to use the computer, to teach them how to fill out a resume. And I want to tell you that in the last 60 days, 9 of those individuals have jobs. And so it's not a hand out, it's a hand up. And people are working together. That's what I get excited about, is seeing these organizations work together and come together, not worrying about who gets credit, and not just feeding them a meal, sending them out into the night, but giving them hope, giving them their lives back. Again, 9 people got jobs, and it keeps growing because they're working, and I appreciate what they're doing, and we're going to keep working on it.
Mr. Holt, thank you very much. Mr. Betterton, the question is now yours.
Well, for the last 30 years, I've been a part of a number of organizations in our community, and applaud so many that do so much to give folks a hand up. Cities across this country are facing homelessness issues that continue to confound the experts and agencies that attempt to tackle it. And, for whatever reason, someone's homeless, whether it's drugs, alcohol, joblessness, or domestic violence, we simply just have to work together. Here in Florence, I believe a multi-agency response will be required. Just before the pandemic started, Downtown Florence Alliance was beginning to work together to form that multi-agency approach. In particular, I intend to work with the Downtown Florence Alliance, the Homeless Care Council, the Salvation Army, and an organization that I'm really excited about, the Shoals Dream Center, and others, to help those who want to partner with us to change their lives, because we can't save everyone, but I think there's a number of folks that do want a job, that do want to break the cycle of poverty and homelessness.
Mr. Betterton, thank you very much. Mr. Pendleton, you are the last one to speak on this question, please.
Yes, sir. Again, sounds like a whole lot of difference in these 2 people who had a chance to help the homeless and didn't speak up nowhere, no way, shape, or form. The Constitution allows us things that the city of Florence cannot do. We can enter into a contract. So what I would do as mayor is to talk to the people that these 2 people, Mr. Benson and Mayor Hope, pushed aside. And now they want to talk. You can't talk after the horse has been stolen. We want to vote the one out the door. I think during election time, people can make their mouth say anything. But when the crisis was going on in Cleveland, the homeless, Mayor Hope didn't say anything, and Mr. Benson didn't say anything. Now all of a sudden they're gonna cooperate. I would do what I said I would do. This is I can assure you this, that the people who want to be homeless, at least send a message or contact Mayor Hope or Mr. Benson directly to all the controversy going on. These 2 gentlemen said nothing. I would look at that a little bit different and work with them.
Mr. Pendleton, thank you. That is your time. For our next question, Mr. Holt, you will start this one for us. If you are reelected as mayor, what would your administration plan to do to improve economic development and vitality in the city of Florence?
During this administration, we took the position of our one-stop shop coordinator and added to that the business development coordinator position so that we are constantly making contacts. We work primarily with retail. We work with the Shoals Economic Development Authority for manufacturing. There are some things that we need to do. We have a large industrial park north of town. We have roughly 100 acres left, of which about 60 acres is usable. I believe it is very important for us to develop more industrial land. Not that we put all of our eggs in that basket anymore, but we don't want to be out of the ball game either. We really need industrial land for a future industrial park. I personally support the Shoals Business Incubator. I believe the city, we've supported it with about $50,000 per year. It's a great startup program. We go aggressively after retail all the time. We travel. We send our business development coordinator to travel. We talk to developers constantly. We talked to 3 different developers in 1 week, 2 weeks ago. So we're excited about that.
Mr. Holt, thank you. Mr. Betterton, you are next, please.
Well, I believe when we get past who gets credit, our wonderful economic agencies like CETA, Shoals Incubator, and others can collaborate on bringing the jobs and skills together to make it happen. You know, frankly, at over age 60, I need to be talking directly to the folks here that are next geners. We could talk about jobs and careers today look much different than they did in the past. Working remotely wasn't even in the vocabulary when I began my career. We need to continue listening and exploring technology that teaches the skills of today's fast-paced jobs. One area I'm really excited about is the Florence City Schools has started its launch program, and partnering with UNA, Northwest Shoals, and others, they're giving students real skills on the job training. And I think these are the skills that as we develop jobs here, we'll be ready to walk into jobs that are here for the future.
Mr. Betterton, thank you very much. Mr. Pendleton, the question is yours, please.
I hate to say that, I guess I'm wasting a lot of time on this double talk subject these 2 gentlemen are talking about. But listen, ever since we had Coyote Marshall 7 miles away, I haven't heard these gentlemen say anything about economic development. What I would do is work with the tourism board and the realtors and home builders. What I'm saying is, let's try to sell our quality of life. When I came to this area, I knew where I was going to live. I knew where I was going to be working. And a lot of people feel like I said, recruit the wives and families, and the plants will automatically come. If we can show a wife where she will live and shop, and the kids while they will go to school, let's do that a little bit different. That's the way I would take it. In other words, I want to recruit them. I mean, we can do, I know one of the things I want. It's called as-is housing, like on a parking lot with a used car. Show the family all the homes that we have in our area, and if they like one, we'll let them have it. Only thing we'll do is change the sheets. What I'm saying, let's recruit the families, and the plants will automatically come.
Mr. Pendleton, thank you. That is your time. Mr. Rucker, please.
I'm sorry. I had a bit of an issue hearing you again.
Yes, this would be, if you were elected mayor, what would you do to improve economic development here in Florence?
Could I reclaim my time from that?
Yeah, go ahead.
To encourage economic development, we always think of it as a supply side thing, where it's going to be a top-down thing. We're going to, give tax breaks to all these rich, big corporations that are going to come in and they're going to treat the workers well. No, the answer is union, union, union. We need every worker unionized, because when every worker is unionized, that brings in more people who want to work. And when you bring in more people who want to work, you're going to have more jobs. You're going to have better production. You're going to have better means of that production. And when people want to work, it tends to draw in more businesses. And when people have better pay, less hours, more vacation time, that tends to bring up the standard of living of the area. It tends to bring up property value because more people want to join in. So when I say that the art of the union is dead in America, it has been dead since Ronald Reagan was elected. It's been dead as long as I've been alive. So we need to unionize. We need to build worker solidarity. We need to have more cooperative businesses. We need to have more democratic work environments, because that's how you build more rapport. That's how you build more jobs, is with the workers first.
Mr. Rucker, thank you very much. Candidates, this will be our final question of the evening, and Mr. Betterton, you will be the first to answer this one for us. What qualifies you to be mayor of Florence, and why should the community trust you to lead?
You make me start the toughie. I came to Florence almost 50 years ago as a 17-year-old student at UNA. Thought I'd stay here a few years and off I would go to my life. And I found a wonderful community, quality of life, education, friends that have kept me going all these years. And I've tried to give back with whatever the organization was, whether it shows Habitat, Boys and Girls Club, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, my church, community theater. Several years ago, I decided I'd run for the Florence City Board of Education. For 2 terms, I served and probably had the best experience of my life. Excited about students and engaged with their parents as we raised our students. My 3 terms on the city council have given me a new perspective about the city and realized we can do anything we choose to do. And I'm here to be the cheerleader, the encourager, and help us go to the next level. And I'm trying to reach out to people younger than myself to step up and be leaders for the future. Thank you.
Mr. Betterton, thank you very much. Mr. Pendleton, your final thoughts, please.
Okay. I'm better qualified than the group that we have now because of my vast experience. I got 20 years on the city council. I'm not afraid to be wrong, because when I found out that I was wrong, I always would say, I guess it's time for me to eat crow, because crow is easy to swallow when you say it easy. So one of the qualifications is to admit that you're wrong. Now, I got to admit, I didn't admit that a lot of times, though I didn't want to, because I always thought I was right. But when the evidence was put before me, I always admitted that I was wrong. The record will show that. And I don't mind making somebody mad that needs to be made mad to get some attention to a problem. And I think I'm a better people person than the one that we got now, because with all the problems we have, there's been no conversation, but getting my name in the newspaper, whatever the case might be, no communication whatsoever. I can do better than that. At least I can talk to people and make them feel comfortable. And I know how to get things done. With the new council coming in, some of the members, I will sit down and talk to each one of them and find out what their concerns are and work with them.
Mr. Pendleton, thank you very much. That is your time. Mr. Rucker, the question is yours now.
Again, can you repeat the question and reclaim my time?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
What qualifies you to be mayor, and why should the community trust you to lead them?
Well, what qualifies me for mayor is the fact that these other 3 people have been working in the government of Florence for far too long, and they have not done a lot. Stagnation is what kills everything. You look at any nation that has failed, it's always been because of so much stagnation. And you see Steve Holt, you see Pendleton, you see all these people who have been working in the government for far too long and are safe in their seats to where they won't ever do anything unless they get kicked out. And here's the thing, I say real change right now, because you look at me, I am the fresh face of change. Because when you see all these other people, I'm the one who's the industrial worker. I'm the one who's going to get labor unions for the workers in the city because the workers have been ignored for too long. I'm the one who's going to remove the statue. I'm the one who's going to stop the Klan because everyone's being ignored by these three people who have always been in the government. And I'm tired of it. I am sick of these stagnant politicians, and I want to change that. I want to be a progressive voice for tomorrow, and I want to be a puppet of the people, basically. I want the people to trust me to do what they want.
Mr. Rucker, thank you very much. Mr. Holt, your final thoughts, please.
Thank you again, Dr. Kane. I've got to take just a second. I missed some things on the homeless issue, and that is our planning department and our work with community development block grant funds and emergency service funds. We've given out, and the Community Action Agency, we've given out over $800,000 in the past 12 months to programs to take care of homeless issues, and we're proud of that. I also I've been in office 4 years. I'm not a politician. Don't plan to start being a politician now. I spent my career in economic and community development. I know what to do. I've done it for 40 plus years. I know how to contact people, to talk to people. We're going to keep doing that, and we're going to keep building the city of Florence. I love the Lord. I love my family, and I love my job as mayor. I want to keep doing that. I know how to do it. We've been blessed beyond measure, and we're going to keep building this city. It's a great city. I'm proud of the city of Florence. I'm proud of the citizens of Florence, and we're going to keep working together to build this community.
Mayor Holt, thank you very much. And candidates, thank all of you for your time and your remarks tonight, for joining us. Also, thank you to the Next Gen Board for making this possible for all of us to hear from you tonight. For those of you who are watching tonight, just a reminder that local elections are on August 25th. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And be sure that you know your polling place and you are encouraged to go out and vote. Also, please join us for Tuscumbia's Mayoral Forum on Thursday, August 6th at 7 p.m. Pete Key will be speaking with Carrie Bubba Underwood. This will also be broadcast via Facebook Live. Thank you all for joining us tonight, and have a good night.
Thanks for having us.